Picture this, a military complex so vast it dwarfs the Pentagon. 10 times its size, sprawling across 1,500 acres of Chinese soil. Deep beneath the surface, a labyrinth of tunnels and bunkers take shape, designed to, some say, to withstand a nuclear strike. This isn't science fiction or a relic of the past, it's happening right now. Just 30 kilometers from Beijing.
China is building a sprawling military complex in Beijing. Report says it would be at least 10 times larger than the Pentagon.
China is preparing for war, building an entire city for this purpose, about 30 kilometers southwest of Beijing. They're calling it the Beijing Military City.
US intelligence agencies believe it is constructing what will be the world's largest military command center.
China is reportedly constructing a massive military command center, potentially designed to serve as a nuclear-resistant wartime command center.
Welcome to what experts are calling Beijing's Military City, a project that's sending ripples of unease across the globe. Is this China's bold step into a new era of military dominance, or a defensive move in an increasingly volatile world? Let's dive in, because the story behind this colossal undertaking stretches back decades and could shape the decades ahead. To understand what's unfolding near Beijing today, we need to rewind to the 20th century, a time when the world teetered on the edge of annihilation. It's 1949, and Mao Zedong proclaims the People's Republic of China, birthing the People's Liberation Army, or PLA, as its military backbone. But the real turning point comes during the 1950s and 1960s during the Cold War. China, caught between the rival superpowers of the United States and the Soviet Union, faced existential threats. The US had nuclear weapons stationed across Asia, and by 1960, tensions with Moscow soured to a bitter Sino-Soviet split. Mao's response? Prepare for the worst. That preparation took form in projects like the underground city beneath Beijing, a network of bomb shelters built in the late 1960s to protect civilians and leaders from nuclear attack. Then there was the secretive Central Military Commission Command centered in the Western Hills, a Cold War-era fortress carved into the mountains near Beijing. It was a marvel of its time, hardened, hidden, and ready to coordinate a war that thankfully never came. But as decades passed, the world changed. The Cold War ended. China rose as an economic giant, and its military ambitions grew. That old command center? Experts say it's now outdated, too small, too static for a modern superpower flexing its muscles on the global stage. Fast forward to today. Under President Xi Jinping, China's military is undergoing a transformation. The PLA, once a lumbering giant focused on sheer numbers, is now a high-tech force, boasting aircraft carriers, stealth fighters, and a nuclear arsenal that's expanding fast. Xi's vision? A world-class military by 2049. The PRC's centennial. But there's a milestone before that. 2027. The PLA's own 100th birthday. And it seems China's marking the occasion with something big, really big. Enter Beijing's Military City. First reported by outlets like the Financial Times and Zero Hedge in early 2025, this massive complex began taking shape in mid-2024. Satellite images, some of which you're seeing now, reveal a staggering footprint. 1,500 acres, roughly 10 times the size of the Pentagon's 150-acre sprawl. That's not just a building, it's a small city. US intelligence, cited by the Economic Times, pegs it as the world's largest military command center, potentially opening its doors by 2027, just in time for the PLA's centenary. But what is it for? The clues lie beneath the surface. Analysts poring over those satellite shots have spotted signs of deep underground construction. Tunnels, bunkers, maybe even nuclear-resistant chambers. Asia Times calls it a super base, built to prepare for a potential US war, while Zero Hedge dubs it a signal of conflict preparation. The design echoes China's Cold War playbook, but on a scale that's jaw-dropping. Think of it as the Western Hills 2.0, bigger, tougher, and wired for 21st century warfare. Experts speculate it could house the PLA's top brass, coordinating missile defense and managing a nuclear counterstrike. In a world where hypersonic weapons can strike in minutes, a fortress like this could be China's ultimate insurance policy. Now let's put this into perspective. The Pentagon, America's military nerve center, has been the gold standard since 1943. It's huge. 6.5 million square feet, 17 miles of corridor, home to 23,000 workers. Beijing's military city? If the estimate holds, it's 10 times that size by land area. That's not just a flex, it's a statement. But statements like these don't come cheap or quiet. Construction on this scale takes years, billions of dollars, and a very clear purpose. So, what's driving it? Geopolitics offers some answers. Tension with the US has been simmering for years over Taiwan, the South China Sea, trade wars, you name it. The US has bases ringing the Pacific from Japan to Guam, and its nuclear triad keeps China on edge. Meanwhile, China has been modernizing its own nuclear forces, think DF-41 missiles, capable of hitting the US mainland, and a growing fleet of submarines. The DoD's 2024 report on China's military notes a tripling of its nuclear warheads since 2020, with more on the way. I'm not sure why you need more, because only a handful will eradicate the entire world, but here we are. Beijing's military city fits this pattern, a command hub to match a superpower's ambitions and its fears. History gives us a lens here. Remember the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962? The US and the Soviet Union stared down nuclear Armageddon, and both sides built bunkers to survive it. China watched and learned. Today, it's not missiles off Florida, but carrier groups in the Taiwan Strait that raised the stakes. Neither side wants war, hopefully, but both sides are preparing for it. US intelligence sees Beijing's military city as a sign China's bracing for a worst-case scenario. Maybe a conventional clash that spirals, maybe something nuclear. It's a chilling echo of the Cold War, but with a dangerous modern twist. So, is this about aggression or defense? That's the million-dollar question, and it's where neutrality matters. On one hand, China's framing it as a natural step. The PLA's centenary is a big deal, a chance to showcase strength and unity. A shiny new command center fits that narrative, replacing an aging Cold War relic with something fit for a global power. Xi's speeches often stress national rejuvenation, and this could be a brick in that wall. Plus, with natural disasters and pandemics in the mix, a robust command structure makes sense for domestic stability too. On the other hand, the timing and scale raise eyebrows. Why now? When the US-China relations are at kind of a low ebb. Why underground bunkers if it's just a ceremonial upgrade? Critics like those at Asia Times point to Xi's rhetoric about preparing for war and see this as a gauntlet thrown down. The nuclear angle adds fuel. If it's built to survive a first strike, is China signaling it's ready to retaliate? The US isn't sitting still either. Think AUKUS subs, missile upgrades in the Pacific. It's a chess game, and this is a king-size move. Let's zoom back to the site itself. By mid-2024, satellite imagery showed dirt moving fast. Roads, foundations, hints of tunnels snaking underground. The Economic Times report is dubbed it Beijing's military city by observers, and it's a nickname that's stuck. At 1,500 acres, it's not just a building, it's an ecosystem. Barracks, data centers, maybe even missile silos, all speculation for now. What's certain is the pace. China is pushing hard to hit that 2027 deadline. If they pull it off, it'll be operational just as the PLA turns 100, a birthday gift with global echoes. What does this mean for us, the global audience? For China, it's a milestone in a long journey from Mao's guerrilla army to a force rivaling the US for America and its allies. It's a wake-up call, another sign that China is not contented to play second fiddle. The transatlantic alliance, already strained, may feel the heat too. Europe has got its own security woes, and a more assertive China shifts the balance. But it's not all doom and gloom. A stronger China could stabilize Asia, or destabilize it depending on how this plays out. Beijing's military city is more than concrete and steel. It's a window into China's past, present, and future. From Cold War bunkers to a 21st century fortress, it's a story of survival, ambition, and uncertainty. It's a shield against a chaotic world, or a sword for a fight that's coming. History tells us preparation doesn't always mean war, just the fear of it. As the cranes keep turning and 2027 looms, one thing is clear: the world is watching and the stakes are sky high. Stick around because this story is far from over. What do you think? Defense or dominance? Drop your take in the comments. Thank you.